Hello, everyone. Oh, wrong button. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bunnies on BZCast. I'm your host, Randy. This is, of course, the official podcast of BunniesZine.com, your guys' favorite website for everything bunnies, outside of HRS.org, or Rabbit.org. Our social media pages, BunniesZine on Facebook, at Official BZine on Twitter, Official BunniesZine on Instagram. This is the final recording of 2016. The recording date is December 17th, 2016. You guys will be listening to this a few days afterwards. And this episode is a guest-free recording. I will just be me talking for a long time. We do have a lot of talking points. I did over the last month since the last recording, compile a ton of talking points that I know I'm not talking to anyone directly because this is guest free, but for something for you guys to think about up until just bunny related topics to think about. Speaking of bunnies, and it's the holidays, our holiday issue is out right now. It came out December 1st. It's jam-packed, full of so many awesome bunny pictures that you guys, the audience, sent in, which was awesome. I'm going to get into the audience, our audience of Bunnies on in a second. It's jam-packed. It's awesome, guys. I flipped through it a couple of times. It's the pinned post on our Facebook page. It's the pinned post on our Twitter. So you just click right there. You download it. It's free. Make sure you guys check out our December holiday issue. And, stay tuned. We always aim for the first of every month, and I think we reach that goal just about every single month. I believe we reach it every single month. So January 1st, New Year's Day, we should have a new issue out. So going into this recording, I had posted at least twice on Facebook and probably 4 or 5 times on Twitter. To join in, I posted about 5 or 6 topics on the post that we could talk about, and there wasn't really much feedback, probably little to none at all through email, Facebook, and Instagram. I just wanted to talk, and I know the audience for the podcast isn't that big. I literally have no idea how many people do listen. The views vary. I can't really see how many people watch it through iTunes. iTunes just does not show you that number. And SoundCloud and YouTube show you views, and those are our main platforms. I believe we are on Stitcher Radio still. I haven't checked if the episodes are going on there, but you guys can definitely check that out. But in saying that, we do get a lot of people that participate in past podcast episodes and to participate in our Bunnies on issues. And so I posted topics a couple of times this week before tonight's recording, to get you guys involved, and it wasn't upsetting. I was just like, oh man, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I just was hoping to get some input from the audience and to, the talking points. Some of the talking points were, I'll look at them right now. A review of 2016 in the bunny community. New Year's resolutions for your bunnies, tributes for Rainbow Bridge bunnies. What have you learned from bunnies this last year? A short review of the 2016 podcast episodes. I don't expect you guys to say anything about that, but you're always more than welcome to express your opinion, thoughts, ask any questions about previous podcast episodes. And what can we do in 2017 and beyond to help bunnies? Those were 6 talking points that I had posted on the Twitter and the Facebook, and pretty much didn't get any little to no feedback at all. A couple of comments and no emails. So for anyone that does listen and just happens to listen to the show, and you like this show, maybe you just started listening or you've been listening for a while, talking points and intelligent conversations and progressive discussions and about bunny stuff start with questions just in general. I know that sounds really odd for me to word it like that, but like that's how you get the good discussions going. That and intelligent conversations. That's why when I talk, most of the time when I have a guest on and we kind of go on to a different topic that's really informal, where my guest is like 99% of doing the informing, that it makes the episode that much better. It makes the episode more educational, makes the episode more informal. And that's what I was hoping to do with your guys' input, is that I could bounce off of your guys' opinions and thoughts, of questions or ideas, thoughts, on those 6 talking points. And that's why it was kind of upsetting not to see any of that in there. And this is by no means a rant at all. I'm not like, this is by no means a rant. I'm just trying to explain to you guys that when it comes to doing a show and it comes to, the perfect example, radio shows, a talk show, when they have a celebrity on, they'll take audience questions. Radio shows, callers that call in that take questions. And part of the reason that TV shows, radio shows, podcasts, wink, wink, take questions from the audience is so they can build discussion points. You want to talk about like questions and topics that a majority of the audience might be wondering themselves, and what about anything. We're talking bunny specifically, but I feel like I'm talking in circles. But I'm just saying in general that audience input can be very, very important and can build a show and make it that much better. It's fuel. It's fuel to the fire, because you're adding, when you add someone else's opinion and thoughts, even if it's just someone, asking a very normal bunny question, it just adds more to the show. And when perfect example as well is when we had the rabbit Dr. Jerry Skinner on, and we took about, I don't know, three medical questions, and she turned those medical questions. She didn't just answer those questions. She went into other talking points when we talked for like an extra 5 minutes about rabbit poop, because someone had asked a medical question about rabbit poop. And then she went into more talking about recognizing rabbit poop and talking to people about the different kinds of poop, and what's good and what's bad and what they should look out for. That sent one question turned into her answer plus more information to the audience, important information, especially coming from an exotic veterinarian. So that's my point. That's probably my strongest example that I'm going to provide, is that just simply you guys joining in, asking questions, even if you just want to send a statement, hey, maybe an idea for the show, or maybe you guys should talk about this as a talking point. And I will definitely give it a try, and I will bring someone on that will talk about it, try to talk about it. That was my little thing in the beginning. So when sorry about that. So that's my early lead off of the show. Happy holidays. Again, that's not a rant, and it's not any anger or anything against the audience. I just think when you guys ask questions, when you guys send me emails about talking points and opinions, it makes this show that much better. And that's what you guys should be listening to, is a better show. That's all I got to say on that point. So I will go into some of the other talking points. I think I said it in the beginning. Yeah, this is the only episode of December. So the next episode, the podcast will pick back up in January. Hoping to have a recording early January. Try to set up a guest or something like the week after the holidays, when everyone kind of goes back to everything kind of goes back to normal. Because it's just crazy right now with the holidays and shopping and all that, and people in rescue are just like insanely crazy busy right now. Okay, so one of the talking points that I posted on the Facebook and the Twitter. I'll take another sip of water real quick. Okay, that's my little mini commercial breaks in the show. A review of 2016 in the bunny community. Now, I'm on the House Rabbit group pages. I am, of course, with Bunnyzine, but I am also on 3 different social media platforms. Between Bunnyzine's Facebook, I definitely pay attention to Bunnyzine's Twitter. That's that's me, and then Bunnyzine's Instagram. That's also me as well. So it's kind of hard to not manage, but keep track of everything that goes on in the basically 3 different communities. Now, it's not all different because Miss Buns, I'm just using Miss Buns as an example. I believe Miss Buns has a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Twitter. Like, some bunnies are on all 3 platforms, social media platforms, and so that's a little different. But there's different communities that are spread out, and I think a review. It's not a review. It's just like a general statement in that it's always up and down. It's always very, very up and down between adoptions, between losing some of our really, really close bunnies that we admire and that we had loved for years. That's the toughest part, and those are the lows that that are really hard to take. You get emotionally upset because you've been And this is gonna kind of connect with the bunnies on that we've lost in 2016. But those are the low points as talking about bunnies, is that it's like the worst thing. Everything changes when you lose a bunny. Just your daily routine, the noises in the house. Feeling, comfort. You're just happy when you see them, and when you don't. For some people, bunnies are just like a very happy escape. Like, they just can't. Life, it sucks sometimes for some people, and going home, to be able to come home to the your bunny, your pet at home, just makes it's like, oh, today is good now because I'm home with them, and not to have that anymore. It's an adjustment. It's a terrible adjustment. It's painful. It's it's depressing. And those were, when we think of, we look back at years, those are the low points of just losing a bunny, and the high points is success stories. Bunnies making it through the different surgeries. I'm just talking in a very vague sense, but because like I said 2 minutes ago, it's very hard to keep track of 3 social media platforms of what's going on. I try my best between the Twitter and the Facebook for all the the pages and our Twitter followers, but at the same time, I'm on Twitter. I'm following almost 500 Twitter accounts. So I do not I could provide some examples of bunnies that have passed, but at the same time, I almost off the top of my head, Frederick, Ocean, Josephine, and I know there's plenty more between Facebook and Twitter. On Twitter, Bunza Antilles. I don't know, I'm really mispronouncing that, but that was very, very recent. I believe J of John and Jay. It's very, very hard to to try to remember, and I do not want to be disrespectful to the pages that, when a bunny passed away in like August. I'm sincere and I'm honest about when I'm about sending condolences to a page, to a friend of ours in the bunny community. I'm very serious. So I know I mentioned a few names right there, like quickly in a minute, but for all of our bunny friends, we miss them. We miss them just like they were family, because their family, the bunnies' families, were so gracious and so nice and so awesome to share their lives with us. We got pure entertainment and joy and laughter out of watching all these bunnies every day with the parents posting funny videos and them sleeping flopped over, that kind of stuff. It just makes our day better when we see that. And for anyone who's lost a bunny this year, it's tough. My heart goes out to you. I've been there. Just knock on wood, I'm not it hasn't been there this year for me. I know Dustin, I feel terrible, but I know he has his 2 bunnies on his profile page. His profile, and I want to say Dustin is 3 or 4. No, Dustin's had a rough year with losing bunnies, and I apologize if that's not correct, but I want to say it's 3 or 4, Dustin. And everyone that has lost a bunny, my heart goes out to you. I hope 2017, if you haven't adopted, you don't have another bunny, give yourself some time to grieve, recover, and recuperate, and maybe when you're ready, if you're ever ready to do it again, think about adoption again. There's so many bunnies out there that need our help. All right. I'm not even 20 minutes in and losing my voice over here. It's not losing. It's like just cracking out of nowhere. Okay. I got like a half gallon of water next to me. All right. So I thought this was an interesting idea, and the talking points, New Year's resolutions for your bunnies. So I will be proposing this question to my audience is, what are your New Year's resolutions for your bunnies, and that what are your goals for you and your bunnies this coming year? Is there something, maybe it could be health. It could be, making sure they have a better diet. It could be making sure you spend more time with them. It could be maybe getting attempting a bonded pair because you have a bunny that's home alone all day because you have to work. So those are the questions that I'm proposing to you, for you guys to think about to yourselves. What are some of your goals? Everyone has something to say about their bunnies. Like, I wish I got to. I think a big one is got to spend more time with them, because their time with us is so limited, and it's not consistent. Their lifespans are not, depending on breed and weight and the condition in which you adopted it varies. Everyone, yes, they could live to 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. As Josephine we talked about a couple minutes ago, 18 years, but we know that it varies. Different medical conditions, different things happen, stasis, and as being the most common, and other things happen to where it's just it's not as, I'm not saying it's not realistic, but it's just, I see more times than not where it's we lost this bunny too soon. And it's like this is a very like, it's not holiday themed episode, but it's during the holidays, and that's just like a bummer point that I just said. But just listening and talking to people, even 10 years, I'm not putting a number on that to like put a value or anything into a life. 10 years is definitely to me would be still too short of a run, but it becomes a point of people with the acceptance of, when it gets to 10, 12 years, that their time, it's like a grandparent that's in their 70s, 80s, and higher. You're prepared mentally because of their age of, they could pass because strictly of age, or their health deteriorates because of age. And people have that kind of self awareness. I think when it comes to animals, when it comes to bunnies, it's like, oh, when they reach a certain age, you just kind of know that you do your best. You do your best to monitor their health and pay attention to their diet and everything else, and pay close attention to if there's any warning signs, and etc. But you just have a general acceptance that it's getting older, and it could just something can happen to where it gets sick or it just passes away. And going back to all the way back to the New Year's resolutions, I think that's the biggest one. Whenever I talk to a guest, like before recording or after recording, like through messaging or through email, spending time, because we're just all so busy. That's how it is being an adult. You go to work, and then you got stuff to do at home that's like similar to work, but you're not getting paid for it. And then it's whatever. It's nighttime, and you do your best to make sure that the bunnies and stuff are okay, and then you go to bed and you do that same routine the next day, and it ends up becoming like a regret that I should have. When I talk, I hear people, not when I talk to people, but when people like post it in the HRS like group on Facebook or a group, it becomes a thing of, I wish I could have made more time to spend time with, said bunny. And I myself had said that with Milo when he passed, and I have made more of an adjustment to hang out with Moose and Nova. And I only laughed a little bit because they're in two different bedrooms, so I literally will bounce back and forth between the two rooms to spend time with them. And then when they're both like bored with me and hopping away, it's like, all right, I'll leave you guys alone. Was another New Year's resolution. So some of the things for you guys to think about, what do you think you can do, even like a New Year's resolution for yourself as a bunny parent? How do you, because no one's perfect, so how do you think you can be a better bunny, bunny parent? And what, sometimes you gotta, that's what I think of New Year's resolutions is because people don't like to tell that to other people, like, oh, hey, you need to look yourself in the mirror and kind of think, check your what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I'm drawing a blank here. Again, for like the fifth time this episode, I'm drawing a blank. But people don't like to hear that from other people. Hey, you need to look yourself in the mirror and kind of rethink yourself. And then people get upset. It's like, no, I'm fine as who I am. I am who I am. And going back, I think like New Year's resolutions is like a soft holiday way to word that to other people in a very different kind of way. Like, oh, you should make a New Year's resolution, to do something better. And you should always look to, improve yourself in some facet, become smarter or more, in whatever way to your personal, self, in whatever you do, whether it's work or whether it's, be a better person or, blah, blah, blah. You guys get what I'm saying. That's what New Year's resolution is. And the most common one is like lose weight. I'm treating the New Year's resolution for being a bunny parent and for your bunnies in general is I'm just wording it in that kind of way. So just think about that. What are some of the things you can do to be a better bunny parent? And what are some goals that maybe you think for you and your bunny this in 2017 and beyond? And kind of mixed in with the tributes. This is another talking point into what have you guys learned from your bunnies this past year. This was one of the talking points on Facebook. See, I have two different sets of talking points. I have the ones I posted on Facebook, and then I have like my notepad on my phone where I have some different talking points. And when I get into that, I'll let you guys know. So what have you learned from your bunnies this last year? Again, this is another talking point that kind of relates to the New Year's resolutions. And I would say that I'd say with bunnies in general, with my two that I have at home, is they're always teaching us something new. Like, there's always something, whether it's something funny, or whether it's something goofy, surprising. With some people, it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't think you could get over that gate, or I didn't think you could run that fast, or with some bunnies, I didn't think he or she could break this like emotional barrier. I've seen that so many times in the HRS like group page where there's this super bunny that's been through hell, that's before the rescue, and then was adopted and is super shy, does not like people. And, 6 months in, when the parent, commits and spends so much time to build a better relationship, that bunny is like snuggling next to the person. I love those stories. I love, I don't love the fact that the bunny went through a terrible beginning, but I love the commitment by the parent to, make that bunny feel comfortable, give it a loving home where it's not, skittish, it's not shaking, it's not, it's not an emotional wreck. It's happy to lay down and flop and sleep and relax and feel safe. Those are the biggest things. And I like I said, I absolutely love those stories. Those are the ones. That's one of the things with I always see with those groups. I didn't know with some people. It's like I didn't know my bunny either can bond with another bunny or can't bond. I don't mean like with a health or physical limitations, but I just mean some bunnies just don't get along with other bunnies, and then something happens to where that one bunny, when you bring another one in the house, they just bond. So because people will try that. People will keep adopting, and they'll obviously keep the bunnies, but keep them in a separate room. And then they'll adopt another one to see if there's, the one bunny can bond with, their first bunny. And, then you have like this beautiful, bonded pair that comes out of all of that. I've seen that again mostly through the Facebook group of just like successful stories So something to consider to yourself, like, again, to kind of tie in with your New Year's resolution. What have you learned from your bunnies this year? What have they taught you? Have they surprised you with something that they have done? Have they... What is I was going to say, I'm just going to keep repeating myself with the whole learn from your bunnies. But again, something to consider to kind of connect with the New Year's resolution. All right. Next talking point. A short review of the 2016 podcast episodes. I'll keep this very, very quick since I did a big, long... I did like the 1 year anniversary podcast episode. Did most of the 2016 podcast episodes, not all of them, but most of them. So I'm just gonna pull up. I'm not gonna really talk about them that much individually, but just in a general sense. We talked about bunnies in colony rescue with Sorella Rabitat, so it was pretty cool. We gave you guys a pretty good preview about Midwest Bun Fest. We had, of course, our anniversary episode. One of my favorites. They're all, episodes I like and love. But the Rabbit Doctor, that's episode 22. That was June 10th. That one was very informal. Again, Jerry Skinner's a wonderful rabbit doctor, and that was a really, really good episode. We previewed Southeast Bun Fest, provided some news and updates. In March, one of the more, I had probably 2 controversial episodes in 2016, and the other one I'll get to in a second. Some people already know what it is. Was episode 18 in March 24th. I'm looking at it right now on iTunes. The Bunnies on BZCast is on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. I didn't say that. I don't think I said that in the beginning. Usually I do. Bunnies on BZCast. Search that. YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Subscribe. Episode 18, A Breeder's Perspective. So, my friend, Catherine, a friend through Twitter of Bunnysign, was very open and honest about being a show breeder in the past and what some of the things that happened and what some of the things that go down in show breeding. Again, it was kind of a controversial because people right away they see breeding and the pitchforks come out and they want to put someone up, they want to burn someone at the stake. That kind of thing. And I thought it was important to have someone on the show. I'm not talking to like a representative of ARBA or anything like that. I'm talking to someone who used to do it, who gave up doing it, and was someone who was very informal and providing what really goes down and how much of it is, how much of the hate towards show breeding is, warranted. I'm not defending show breeding, and then it sounds like I'm saying it, but having her perspective on what it actually goes down, because I have a general sense of what happens, but I don't know every detail, and I know a lot of people that are listening and are thrilled with me saying that, and like HRS rescues and stuff, have a very good idea what goes down, but I think it's still important for someone to come on and let them speak their side of the story. We talked to representatives of Make Mine Chocolate. I had an episode to talk about. What did I talk about? Oh, pet stores, and pet stores in general, because I've talked about pet stores because I had an experience with a pet store around this time of this recording. So I talked a lot about that. The very important, not just for Easter campaign on January 29th. That was episode 14. That was with our friend Allie. She does that, the hashtag not just the number 4 Easter campaign. That's the campaign for awareness for people basically not to adopt rabbits as Easter presents, because I end up most of the time getting dumped. Okay, I'm just kind of scrolling through the episodes real quick. Again, I'm keeping this very brief and talking about some of the episodes. Okay, so the other episode, I talked to Red Door Shelter, and I talked about their... I thought that was a very cool episode because Red Door provides a count of how many abandoned bunnies since the day after Easter, I believe, that they bring in off the street. Dumped bunnies, abandoned, dumped, whatever term you want to use. They do that, and their team effort in talking to people in the community to get this bunny and bring them into the shelter, and then, to get them medically checked out to make sure that they're okay. It was a very, very awesome process, and the people at Red Door are awesome. So that's a very informal episode about bringing in dumped rabbits, someone noticing a dumped rabbit, saying something, and then Red Door posting it, and then next thing you know, a team of people bring in this bunny within hours, usually within a day or within hours, which is, again, incredible teamwork that's centered around Red Door, which is awesome. That's episode 27. So episode 26 was Remembering the Goal, and this is the episode that was a giant mistake on my half. It's still one. It's odd because people that you can like on SoundCloud, and people from time and time again are still liking it. Like, it'll be like, oh, blah 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 username has liked your podcast episode, and then when I click the link to see which episode they liked, it's this episode. It's episode 26, Remembering the Goal, which is very odd that people on and off keep liking this episode the last couple months. Like I said, the episode itself was a giant mistake. I have talked about it ad nauseum on previous episodes, and I did a YouTube video. I'll talk about that in a second. I did a YouTube video kind of explaining what went down, and basically me apologizing for all parties involved, one main party involved. So yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into it. If it's the first time you've ever listened to this podcast, like this is the first episode 26 is the one I'm talking about. I was basically making I want to say making possible false accusations based off a poorly written letter that I had received, and it was all out of anger. It was and frustration, and I did not do my fact checking, and I didn't do, I just didn't talk to all parties involved before I did that recording. That episode should never even have been put up. Should have never ever been uploaded. But hey, then I get phone calls and I get emails, and again, it's a giant mistake on my part. It's a kind of thing that should have never happened. It's still there because some people have contacted me, and it's a couple. It's not a lot, and said overall, whether you're the person that you're like almost accusing. Not person, but group that you're throwing a possible accusation at. It is important, and this was someone in rescue. I just want to preference that as well. That when I talked to someone in rescue off camera about a recording, they said, "Well, while your possible accusation is wrong, it is a very good talking point in talking about drama." getting in the way of rescues, because drama between people in rescue happens more than people on the outside know. And that led to a discussion. Again, this was all off air, and I'm not going to reveal the person's name who I talked to this about. That there is, it's just like work. It's just like work, where there's always a coworker or coworkers that you just don't get along with. And for most of us, I would say it doesn't get in the way of your product. Can't talk. It doesn't get in the way of your productivity at work. I don't know why I couldn't spit that out. It doesn't get in the way of what you do at work. It doesn't get in the way of your success at your job. But for some people, it does. Like they can't handle that. The other guy, some other person in a cubicle, or I'm just throwing out an example, and then their work is not as good as it should be. It's not up to the standard. It's not up to par, and then your managers and bosses are all over you about it. So that's kind of like the comparison the person in rescue was talking to me about, and they said, well, as a talking point, it should be said because it exists. It definitely exists. And I said, okay, I don't feel as crappy about it. I still do. I still feel bad about it, but hey, it is what it is. Again, episode 26 was just a terrible podcast episode. So going back to the that's the gist of the 2016 podcast. Again, this is the final one of 2016. I thought this is also a very good talking point, and again, this is for something for you guys listening to ponder to yourself. What can we do in 2017 and beyond to help bunnies? Question mark. I think this is more so to think to yourself, and I'm talking about myself as well when I'm saying to you guys about New Year's resolutions and all that stuff. I'm listing myself in this as well. What can we do in 2017 and beyond to help bunnies? And you have to think, what can I do? Can I spread what are some things to do? You can always, again, adopt, foster, donate, volunteer. That is something I've yet to foster or volunteer. And I thought to myself while doing this recording, those are two things I definitely should do. And I should do. Some of this would also have a deep conversation with the wife, obviously. But with fostering, volunteering not so much, but fostering definitely, bringing another bunny into the home. But when I thought to myself, what can I do to help, like a rescue in 2017? What can I do to help bunnies in 2017? I said, there's volunteering, there's donating, there's spreading education, spreading knowledge about bunnies, and whether we're talking about their health, their diet, whether they go hand in hand, but whether you're talking about Easter, when Easter comes around, about adoption, whether we're talking to people about pet stores in comparison to rescues, whether we're talking about the breeding situation, whether we're talking about bunnies as food, whether we talk about what's it, standing out with signs, protesting. There we go. Whether we talk about protesting at certain different stores, it's just something to think about to yourself. What can we do in 2017 and beyond to help? To help bunnies, to give them better lives going forward. Again, something for you guys to think about. I'm going to go into, this is not more so, my talking points on my notepad for this show are very different than some of those talking points. So I did end up watching, and I debated on doing this for YouTube, but I said, you know what, I'll just put it into this podcast episode. The Christmas Bunny. I just recently, it was always available on Netflix through DVD, but I don't have that option. The DVD option, I just have Netflix through streaming. And I saw it was available, I believe a month ago in November, through streaming. It might have been before then, but I swear every time I checked for it was on DVD up until then. I could be wrong. The wife and I watched it. Of course, it's a cute bunny movie. If I had to, I don't know, be a movie critic and give it stars, 3.5 roughly, maybe. And I sound maybe to some people that's kind of harsh, but I have experience with television/film school, and just I can't for anyone that has been through film or television school, where you're watching breakdowns of scenes and what goes into productions and what goes on behind the scenes. I can't really watch movies and television shows the same. I kind of analyze them as I'm watching them. For the scenes, the editing, the backdrops, the sound, everything, and I can't help myself from not doing that ever since my 2 years of Columbia and Chicago. I can't not stop doing that. So everything that I watch, I kind of analyze it in my head as I'm watching it. So that's part of the reason, because some of the movie is just, it's not dumb. I'd hate to call it dumb, but it's whatever. It's pointless. The storyline of the dad not having a job and being like frustrated the whole time, its resolution at the end of that movie made that storyline pretty pointless. So it was an added storyline to basically fill time and to basically add story to the plot of the family is struggling. And this little girl that, I'm talking about spoilers on the Christmas Bunny movie. If you haven't seen the movie yet, just skip over the podcast for a couple minutes. So, spoiler, I'll give you guys a second. Okay, spoilers from now on about the movie. All right, more water. All right, so with the movie, the whole point of the dad not having a job, just kind of, they put that little bit of story in there to kind of add to the overall plot that the family is just not doing that well. The dad is jobless, and the mom is, I don't know if she can't have another kid or she wants to adopt. I don't remember that primary part. I don't know if she wants to adopt. So this little girl, she comes across the little girl, adopts the little girl, not comes across, but, sets up, I don't know what goes into adoptions, but sets it up to where they adopt this girl. And it's not even like a full adoption. It's just like she's staying with them for a certain time frame, and then possibly going to live in another home, that kind of thing. Again, I know nothing about adoption and what goes into adopting a child or foster homes, that kind of thing. So it's that kind of situation. The son of the parents, this little ass of a kid, and the kid is an ass. That's how he's portrayed in this movie. He's just a dumb kid. In this movie, shoots, I think, like him and like a friend shoot a bunny with a BB gun, and then they bring the bunny in. The exotic vet can't really do much with it, so he recommends the crazy bunny lady, quote unquote, that lives in town. and then she ends up having like this like beautiful setup for all these bunnies that are living like in her, I don't even know, like the back. It's not the back of the house. It's like the farm barn. That's the word I'm trying to say. It's like the back of the barn kind of thing, but it's, the heated lamps are in there, so they're all comfortable and safe and hopping around. All the bunnies are getting along, blah blah blah. And then I know I'm not like explaining away at the movie, but in a very short sense, the movie has a very fun ending. It's a cute bunny, obviously, in the movie. And one of the good points of the movie that I like is the adjustment for parents of an adult for a kid owning like a pet animal, because as we've said many times in the past, a 8-year-old or 10-year-old that has a dog, it's like, they're saying it's their dog, but it's your responsibility because you're the adult and you're going to be doing most of the work taking care of, said dog or said, animal, just using that as an example. And it's kind of like that in this situation, to where, the parents throughout the movie are making adjustments to the bunnies. Mostly the dad, because, there was a scene. The kid sucks. The little boy, whatever he is, 10, 12 years old, he sucks. He's got like a hill in the backyard. It's winter time. It's snow hill. He takes the bunny, sneaks the bunny out of the house, like wraps it in a little towel or blanket, whatever, and pushes it down a hill, and the bunny rolls out. The little girl bites the boy in the hand, and the parents, this is the upsetting part when I watch the movie, the parents don't say anything to the kid. They don't say anything to the boy for taking a animal out of the house and pushing it down a hill and risking its life. It's they're in shock and awe that this little girl would bite their son in the hand over this. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids, so I know I can't fully speak to this. But yeah, I would separate if in that situation, if I'm the parent, I separate the girl the girl and the bunny go back in the house. That kid is getting put in his room, locked up, yelled at, and locked up. And given after some duration of that, given a long, hard message about animals and how animals should be treated, because that scene was just crap. That was just one of the crap scenes in the movie. I'm not saying there was a lot, but I'm just saying that was one of them, because, and I'm sure it was like that for you guys that are listening, that you're just like, how could the parents, react like that? They're just like, oh my God, how could you do this? It's like, you just took an animal that just recovered from a BB gun shot and stomach issues from eating terrible food. I forgot to mention that. I think the parents were giving them bad food in the beginning or something like that. I don't even remember. And this bunny is like just recovered, and let's push it down a hill, and a little bunny down a hill. Granted, it's like a 2-foot hill, but still, you never know what could happen. It could land funny, land wrong, that kind of situation. Like, that was infuriating. That scene was crap. It was infuriating. But again, it speaks in a good way. It speaks to the general ignorance that some people have when it comes to animals and how they should be treated. I thought that was a good part of that scene, so it wasn't 100% crap. And the dad's storyline. So the dad, again, I'm in spoiler alert here, is struggling to find a job. He has a big interview. It doesn't work out. They hire some other guy, and he's pissed. And he's sorry, I swore a couple times in this episode. He's pissed that it doesn't work out. And in the beginning, first 30 minutes of the movie, he's offered a job from a friend to work for his friend in real estate or something like that. And the dad is an engineer. I think I have that right. And he's like, oh, I'm the stereotypical proud dad. I got to feed my family. I'm not going to take a hand-me-down job, that kind of thing. And so he doesn't take it. And then basically at the end of the movie, he takes it. So when you give me all of that story for that crap finish, it ends up becoming crap story. That's how I look at it. That's how I view it. When you give me a stupid, not a stupid, but you give me a storyline. You give me good emotion, good anger from the dad, and it sets the tone for the overall one of the tones in the movie is that, this is a family that's not like, that's sort of falling apart because the dad can't, he's struggling to find a job. And, his wife, it makes the wife upset, and, he's yelling and screaming throughout different parts of the movie, and then you get to that. It's just like, really? It would have been cheesy if he just, got another interview and got a job, but it would have made a lot more sense, and it just would have been better than what they did. Oh, I didn't take the job in the first 30 minutes of the movie. Time passes by. Oh, yeah, I'm going to take blah, blah, blah's offer. That was on the table in the first 15 minutes of the movie. So overall, I gave it like a 3. I'll throw it like a 3.5. It's a fun Christmas movie, Christmas bunny movie that does have good information in there about people. One of the key things that people were arguing about a movie about how they picked up the rabbit by the back of the neck. I don't even pick up rabbits. If I do, it's very, very brief, and it's for an important reason. Putting them in a carrier, taking them off of something, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And I try to just, hold, stretch my arms out and make sure that they're comfortable and safe for like the 5 seconds I'm picking them up. People were kind of arguing with each other that wasn't the proper way. Again, I'm not an expert, so I don't know. It didn't look like the proper way. Just the crazy bunny lady was just picking them by the back of the neck. But what do I know? Okay, we did a episode, I'm going to talk about this. In 2016, we introduced YouTube only episodes. Now, the YouTube only episodes, if you're new to the show, were shorter. They were roughly 15 minutes, 20 minutes on average. So, as you know, with our podcast, as this one's almost an hour, coming up to the hour point right now, our podcasts vary from hour to hour and a half. Some have almost reached 2 hours, depending on, the guest and the subject that we're talking about. So with certain topics, I said, well, I can't really do a full podcast, but I think it'd be cool to talk about it on YouTube. So what I did is, for when Watership Down was announced that it was coming to the BBC and Netflix, and either 2017 or 2018, I'm not 100% sure on what year, I did a YouTube video and talking about this because I'm a huge fan of Netflix. So I was excited. Netflix, just talking about like movies and TV shows, Netflix is pretty good so far about giving their directors, writers, hold on a second. Sorry about that, guys. I had to check on a bunny for a split second. Bunny parenting mid-podcast episode. It was an abnormal noise, but everything is okay. All right, so again, just talking about Netflix in general. going by the shows that are Netflix originals, and I've watched a good amount of them, as I don't have cable, so Netflix is like my mainstream of watching like good shows and movies. That I'm pretty optimistic that they're going to handle this well, and some people are not as optimistic because it's going to the BBC. But I said you can do two different styles of animation, I should say, one for Netflix and one for the BBC, to where you have two different versions, to where because I still haven't read the actual Watership Down book, but I've looked up the images and I've read different, like basically the plot and what basically happens. It's a very scary and it could be very violent, and Netflix is not really scared to let their directors and writers kind of show that violence and kind of take their projects, let their directors and writers take their projects to more of a darker side. Some examples: Orange Is the New Black, Daredevil. Stranger Things at certain times. Making a Murderer. There's so many Narcos. There's so many shows where where some of those things that happen on those shows would not fly on like ABC or NBC or CBS, but Netflix doesn't have to abide by those kind of things that the network television does. And so when I saw this was going to Netflix, I said, all right, that's an automatic thumbs up, because again, they'll have more as of right now, because Netflix is getting big, and there have been reports of some writers, not writers, but directors kind of walking away from projects because they're saying that Netflix is kind of letting their success and money get to their heads a little bit. So I'm still optimistic, but I'm kind of watching their future projects, because that's not a good sign when Netflix is making demands on how certain things should be. I don't know if that's what's really going on. I just read about it with a director or two on comingsoon.net, which is like a movie source website. But again, I was just going to provide some updates on Watership Down and the cast, because the cast, when I talked about it in the YouTube video, I only there was only like 3 or 4 names announced. So I'm on IMDb right now, when I'm sitting on the podcast, and I'll just list off the talent and their characters. Now, so you guys can kind of get a hint, like, oh man, that sounds like a good fit for that character, based off the book or based off the previous movies / television show. Gemma Arterton is Clover. John Boyega of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Bigwig. Mackenzie Crook is Hawkbit. Freddie Fox is voicing Captain Holly. Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult is most popularly known as the Beast in the recent X-Men movies. He's voicing Fiver. Miles Jupe, Blackberry. Daniel Kalea as Bluebell. Ben Kingsley voicing General Woundwort. Ben Kingsley being in this was almost obvious. He's English. This is mostly going to be, I would assume, like an English kind of centered, with obviously being BBC. English kind of centered cast. I was almost certain Ben Kingsley was going to be in this, because he's in so much English stuff. It's crazy, and he's really good. Ben Kingsley's really good. James McAvoy, he's coming out in a movie in January called Split, about having like 23 different split personalities. X-Men fans already know he's Professor Xavier. He plays a younger the younger Professor Xavier in the recent X-Men movies. I'm not gonna go through the whole cast. I'll stop in like a name or in a name and put the next name. And Craig Parkinson as James McAvoy is voicing Hazel. And then Craig Parkinson voicing Sandphone. And again, you guys can go to IMDb, just type in Watership Down, and it will come up. The episode guide on Watership Down lists 4 episodes, which I found very, very interesting. Sorry, I had to get up again. Again, bunny parenting mid-episode. I think the heat, as some of you maybe can hear going on in the background, the heat every once in a while, especially it's more active with it being like 20 degrees outside, makes weird noises, and I always think it's the bunnies. I'm just paranoid like that. Oh, so going back to Watership Down, it's 4 episodes. If you click episode guide, it is 4 episodes, so maybe... I believe they said it was going to be like a mini series, so maybe this will be a 4-part episode series that will be coming to Netflix and BBC, which I think is cool. It'll be nice and short, sweet and short, and to the point. So again, I just wanted to provide an update on Watership Down with the cast and the episode guide. I do not see any news as far as when this is coming out to us. I did not see anything on here as far as when this is going to be released to us, when it's coming to Netflix and the BBC. Usually there will be, on IMDb, there will be a date, but I'm scrolling through it right now and I do not see it. It's not standing out, at least. So, I mean, I could Google it, but I'm not going to have you guys wait while I Google something. Get back to the main point of the episode. So, another note that I had on here. We did Watership Down. We did look at that, two bunny-related movies / shows in one podcast episode. Since we are in the holidays, we are... I talked about this a little bit and what can we do in 2017 and beyond. But I personally myself made a donation to a local rescue here in Illinois. I think this is like some people, need a little extra incentive to donate and to help out. But whether that incentive is you want to help bunnies or it's the holidays. I think it's a nice little thing to give the rescue a gift of a donation or physical objects. That's a weird way to word it, but you know what I mean. Towels, blankets, paper towels, hay, pellets. You could even do like a grocery discount. I just thought of that now. Grocery store gift card, that kind of thing. Whether you do that or you donate money, it's all important. And don't forget about your rescues this holiday season. You have plenty of time to donate and help them out. Can think of it. I like to think of it as a Christmas gift to the rescues. To your local rescue or any rescue that you want to donate to. And, it's like a thank you. Thank you for all your hard work that you've done this past year since the previous Christmas, and all your hard work in saving bunnies and, taking care of them in rescue, making sure they get adopted to good homes. That's a ton of hard work that's mostly done by volunteers, people that aren't getting paid to do all this hard work. So, again, guys, don't forget about your rescues this holiday season. Look into your local one. Maybe you could see what they need. Okay. Nova, for anyone that, sorry, more bunny parenting during the middle of an episode. I find if Nova is chewing on a pillow. That's what the noise was. I caught her. Nova is my little black bunny. She is silver fox breed. And she was underneath a pillow and chewing on it at the same time. So, isn't that great? Bunny parenting mid-episode. Well, towards the end of the episode, second half of the episode. What the heck was I just talking about? Oh, donating to rescues. I apologize. So yeah, in the holiday season, guys, just don't forget. Like I said, I like to think of it as a gift to them and as a thank you. Anytime you donate, you're supporting and you're basically saying thank you, for all your hard work and you're feeling generous and you want to help them out. I always think during this time of the year and any time of the year, but we're all in such a in a good giving mood. We love buying presents for our family members and our friends. To not forget about the rescues, the shelters, the animal welfares that need help, that need items. Like I said, even if it's some people don't want to do monies and you actually do want to do like a gift, call your local rescue and see what they need. Hey, do you guys need paper towels? Do you guys need blankets? I could go to the store and buy a few. Or you could just surprise the rescue, which is really, I think, is a cool idea as well. And, I love that. I think Red Door just posted that the other day that they received, a bunch of, I think it was like paper towels, napkins, like blankets or towels. It's a big stack of stuff, and they were just so grateful to get that, and it's a big help to them. And that, that kind of stuff means the world to the rescues, is that when people go out of their way to help out. So don't forget about the rescues. Help them out during this very giving time of the year. I think I pretty much covered most of the talking points that I had. Yeah, I pretty much covered. And this is actually right around, I kind of envisioned between an hour and a half, and we're almost an hour and 15 minutes, and boom. Sorry, I was kind of talking all over the place, guys. It's as you guys know, that have for anyone that's listened in the past, I could like talk in circles sometimes, especially in the beginning, because that went on a way longer than I thought it would. But I thought it was important to get out that having your guys' input and your guys' your questions, your ideas being shared can be very important and can be it only makes the show better. It really does. Your questions and your your emails and so forth. They can spark so much great conversation, or sometimes even debate. But I'm not. That's not the kind of show that we do for Bunnies and is debating. But having a good, healthy, and intelligent conversation can start, and good, healthy, informal, educational, as I keep going with describing it. That could all start with a simple question from someone listening. And that makes the show better. And the more education, the more discussions about different bunny topics, the better. The better the show, and the better the more educated the audience is, and that's always the goal of this. So again, send in those questions. BunnyZionCast@gmail.com. BunnyZionCast@gmail.com. That also comes down to me to where I've got to do that more often. Hey guys, we're gonna have blah 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 as a guest. This is what he or she does, and do you guys have any questions? I did that in the beginning, and I kind of just strayed away from that because I wasn't getting a lot of responses, and I should still keep doing that. So that's also on me as well to keep asking you guys to ask our guest questions to share your opinions and thoughts on certain topics. That's on me as well. So again, questions, topics, ideas, blah blah blah, etc. Send them to bunnyzoningcast@gmail.com. Again, all that stuff just makes the show better. We're on SoundCloud.com, YouTube.com, and on iTunes. Again, you guys, if you like the show and you want to help it grow and gain more attention, like and share on any of those 3 platforms. Anytime that you leave a review or leave a comment on either one of those 3, it helps the show gain more attention. So, again, going back to the beginning, for our holiday issue, make sure you guys download that. It's awesome. It's jam-packed, full of bunnies. Again, it's on the pinned post on Facebook, and it is a pinned post on Twitter. Again, our Twitter @officialbzine and our Instagram officialbunnyzine. Sorry, taking one more last sip of water. I was feeling the voice crack just a little bit more. What I was just about to say something else, and I was drawing a blank again. Again, I'm talking in circles all over the place on this episode. As I've said like 3 or 4 other times, the show will be back in January. Hopefully we'll have a guest, have something very, interesting, cool to talk about on the show. But again, even like going back to the emails, if you want to just talk about, the show, some of the talking points that I just talked about on the show, or have any thoughts or ideas for future episodes. Trying to think if there's anything else to talk. Oh, again, everyone that, for the holidays, you guys, thank you for listening. You have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. If you, whatever you celebrate, whatever, your religion, whatever you celebrate this time of the year, I hope it is a very joyous and wonderful time with you and your bunnies and your families. For everyone on New Year's Eve, I don't mean to sound like an old fart, because I'm 27, but just, be safe, be careful out there, especially, I'm talking to most of the Americans, mostly Americans. Be safe, be smart out there. It's just so many, so much alcohol consumption happens on New Year's Eve. Just be safe. I wish everyone a wonderful, happy holidays. I wish everyone a happy new year. Be safe, have fun, have a good time. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for reading our holiday issue. And that is it for me, you guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe this podcast on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, blah, blah, blah. The voice is cracking just a little more. All right. I'm done, guys. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Take care. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.